Welcome to another episode of RabbitWerks Live Coding. Tonight is episode 5 of the Filtrify photo app series, and if you haven't been with us for the last couple weeks, I haven't either because the internet hasn't been working the best for me up here in Minnesota with the cold and crazy weather conditions going on up here right now. So I do apologize for any delay in any live streams that has been going on. But hopefully tonight the internet will work out enough so we can get a good session in. Yeah, so I just wanted to say hi to Josh Ferris in the chat. Hello, thanks for tuning in as always. And then yeah, thanks again for the internet for working, I guess. I don't know, it's been frustrating, but hopefully we can get a solution figured out for it. But in the meantime, we'll just work with what we got. Music tonight, as always, is brought to you by Free Code Camp Radio. The link is in the description. Go check them out. And I'm also getting together a Spotify playlist of some of my favorite beats and lo-fi, chill hop, all that good stuff to listen to while coding. So I'll put that link up as soon as that's ready to go as well. And it should be cool. And then also make sure to get involved with some community stuff and jump on over to the RabbitWerks Discord universe. The link will be in the description, and you can go in, and if you go over there and say hi, hey, what's up, and I will send you out some stickers, some RabbitWerks stickers. We got a couple cool ones, a Vue.js logo, a RabbitWerks bunny logo, and then the RabbitWerks YouTube channel art. So I don't know, I got some more work in the progress, or in progress works, whatever the words are that are supposed to go in that order in this point in time. But we're just gonna get started coding. All right, cool. So thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get started. So let's take a look at, basically, if you haven't been with us before, this is what we're building. This is a simple filtering app for photos that we can upload a link to, and we're using Vue.js, so it is all dynamic and all reactive and all that fun stuff. And so basically when we upload an image, we can adjust simple CSS filters on it, change the contrast, brightness. My favorite is the hue rotate, because it makes that like very cliche YouTube video where the hue rotates throughout the track. Very fun. And you can invert it, saturate the heck out of it if you really want to. Give it really fat color looking stuff to the point where it bleeds out, or just make it look like it was saturated in 1902. Kind of neat, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, so what do we want to do from here? Well, we want to be able to save the edited image. Well, we can't just go right click and save, because if we were to do that, it's going to just save it as a normal picture. If I were to open this up, it just looks like a normal picture. It doesn't apply those filters. So how do we get those filters applied to the image in order to be able to save it, or when we save it? Well, what we got to do is kind of a two-step process, and we're gonna take the image that we have here plus the filter information, and we're gonna throw that into an HTML5 canvas, right? And when we do that, then we'll be able to take that canvas information and bounce that out into a data URI, which basically turns it into a data, like a JPEG or PNG, whatever the technical official terms for all that good stuff is. But we can specify what we want. Basically, we're gonna say we're probably just going to bounce into a JPEG, and then it will have the filters applied to it, because it's just going to take all the canvas information and we'll have the filters applied to the canvas. Essentially not a separate image on top of CSS stuff and all that good stuff. Oh, and then in the middle of that, we're going to talk about destructuring in ES6 with the Vuex store stuff that we have going on. So it'll be a lot of fun. Let's get going. Okay, so what do we want to do? Okay, first let us say what we want to do is we're going to go into the components folder, and we're going to create a new component folder inside there, and it's going to be for actually, you know what? We can just do it inside the display component folder. So in the display folder, we'll just make a new file and we'll just call it display underscore canvas bounce, I guess, .view. Alright, cool. And then basic boilerplate for Vue, type sc tab in Vue, or yeah, so VS Code. And what we want to do here is just set up a basic canvas to start. And let's see. Okay, so let's just type in canvas tab. Actually, we won't even need to do that. But inside this canvas, we're going to have a couple of different things. We're going to need to, first of all, set the height and the width. So we're going to have to get that from the image that we input in. So let's take a look at our app really quick and just get a refresher on what's going on and what's stored inside of our Vuex component. Not that. Here we go. Nope, not that either. Right click, inspect, and we'll pull this up. We can close out this what's new tab. Display image source. Alright, cool. So let's see, we got an image in here and it's got the source applied. And do we have some computed styles for it? Let's see. Height is right here. If you look, it says height is 535 point something pixels and the width is 800 and just a hair pixels. Cool, so we're going to take that information right there and we're going to want to set the size of our canvas based on the image size. Because you kind of see where I'm going with this a little bit. So what we want to do is really quick, just we're going to say bind width equals. Actually, before we do all of that, we need to get some information into this component. And what do we want to do? Do we want to where do we want to put it? We're going to put it inside. Let's close that out really quick. Let's open up this just a tad bit smaller. It's the display image. We don't want that one. Display container. Okay. So we'll probably just put it in here because it doesn't really matter where we're going to put it because it essentially won't be rendered to the DOM, or it will be rendered to the DOM, but it won't be shown. It'll be this set to hidden because we don't want it to be on screen. We just want to essentially use a ghost canvas to bounce it out to the JPEG. So we'll just put it in here for the heck of it and see if that works. So first of all, we need to import it, like always. Forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty on the Vue syntax and stuff. I've been wrapping my head around React and React Native lately, based for the Coding Garden community app. Shouts to Josh on that and everybody on the team over there. So we were trying to use Vue Native to do the project, but it doesn't look like that project is mature enough to be able to provide us what we need. So we're gonna switch over. We are switching over to React Native, and so I'm wrapping my head around that, and it's kind of tricky, but it's a lot interesting. It's very interesting. One of the guys over there had mentioned that it's a lot easier learning your second framework than it is learning the first one, and I tend to agree with that statement. It is seeming to be pretty straightforward picking it up after I kind of learned the whole concept of like a reactive framework, so to speak. So it's pretty cool. So I don't know, check it out if you want to. We'll see what happens with that. But back to Vue, we'll just say display, and it is display canvas. We don't need to call it canvas bounce. That's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. We'll just get rid of that. So display canvas from display canvas. Alright, cool. Make sure we throw a semicolon in there, and we just need to register our component in the Vue instance now. We'll say display dash canvas. Let's display canvas. Cool. Alright, so we should have that now, and we'd be able to import it, or not import it, but we already have it imported, but let's just pull it into the DOM really quick by saying display canvas. Let's see if we can auto-complete that bad boy. Oh, a little bit, but yeah. Okay. Alright, so right now it's thrown in right here and right there, blah blah blah. If we look at the markup, let's see, we'll make this a little bit bigger. How's that? Okay, so let's see, if we take a look at this guy, so our display container, and then we have that, and then the canvas, so it's just kind of sitting right there. It's just some like tiny little thing, and they're both taking up equal space. Okay, we don't want that. What we want is to go in here, and we're gonna say vShow right away. We're gonna set vShow to false. Oops. And that's just gonna like take it out of the page. It's just not gonna display it. Set it to hidden, display none right there, as you can see. So it doesn't load it in there, but we still have it available to work with, versus if we did vIf, it wouldn't render it at all, which I can show just like that. And you see how the canvas disappeared? It's just like a blank comment kind of thing. It's not being rendered to the DOM in any way when you're using the vIf directive. When you use vShow, it's being rendered, but it's just not being shown. So in this case, we want to be able to use it still. So we want the vShow, we just don't want it to be shown. So we're going to use the vShow directive. Alright, cool. Next thing we want to do is, let's see. Let's take a look at our store really quick and just look at the getters that we have. We have getImage, state.imageSource. Okay. We should probably change that to image source, because we want to be able to pull in the info from it. There's a couple ways we could do it, I guess. I don't know. Let's just take a look at. Let's just try that. So we're going to change the first getter that we have from getImage to getImageSource. And if we go into the image where it says getImage right here. Okay, so we're in the displayImage.view, and then in our computed property called ImageSource, which is a function that returns the getImage getter value from our Vuex store, we are going to just change that to getImageSource. Because what we want to do is set, I don't know, we're going to go like try this. Get image, and it is going to be that, and it will be, well, wait a second, we don't have it, do we? Let's see, hold on a second, let's just take a look. We just have the source in our Vue file, so what we need to do, actually, we're not going to need to do that. Let me think about that for a second. So let's keep getImageSource named the way it is, because it's a little bit more accurate to what it does. But I think what we'll need to do in this case is just work inside of the display canvas component. And so what we can say is Okay, so we're gonna say, oh, no, I got it. Okay, so what we'll say is inside of the display image component, what we'll want to do is write a function inside the mounted hook that will store the width and the height of the image that we're loading in Vuex under a state object called image, and it will be width and height. Okay, sure to comment that out, and then let's just put it in that, and we can say, so we put source inside of image, the image object, and we have that like that. So we're gonna have to fix our display image a little bit, and let's see, what else do we need to fix? Let's just go down, scroll down to this guy, and it's not image source anymore, so it is, we can actually do, change all occurrences, so it will be, oh, actually I don't want to do that because I'm going to change this one and that one. I think those are the only two we want to change, so we will just say state.image.source. Okay, so that says state. When we get our image source, we're going to say we're grabbing the source from the image object that we just wrote. Okay. Cool beans. Let's see if it still works then. So if we throw that in there, it looks like it's good to go. Yep, and cool. All right, so the next thing we want to do is get that computed property set up, or mounted property, whatever you want to call it. So right in our image or display image.view, we're going to say hook into the mounted lifecycle hook as so. And inside there, we're going to say this. Let me just take a look here. What did we have this under? So it's got the class of display image. So const image. We're gonna use some vanilla JavaScript for this right now, and then see if we can figure out other ways to do it. So const image. We're just gonna target the image. It's gonna be document query selector, and it's going to be the class display image, right? Because that's what we have right here. All right. And then, so we could say console.log image and see what that gives us. So if we were to go like that and bring that in, it's going to give us an error that says document is not, what is it saying? Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so it's saying null. Okay, I think that's because we have to query selector console.log image. Oh, I think because when we mount this guy, it so what we're gonna do is instead of being in a mounted hook, we're gonna set up a watch property, I think, or we could just set up another. Yeah, let's see. Let's just try this really quick. So watch, and then it'll be image source, which will be a function that takes the new value, and then inside of that we could say console.log value. Yeah, I haven't really been using Vue much in the last couple weeks, to be honest. I've been so like trying to get my head around React that I'm just kind of forgetting the syntax just slightly because of everything that's been going on. Plus I've been super busy. So Josh is suggesting that we should do computed property. He's probably right on this situation. I just want to kind of figure out where we're at. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's just say, okay, so that changed. Okay, so if that changes, then we want to say const image equals document dot, not get element, but document dot query selector, and it's going to be the display image. All right, let's see what that gives us. Oh yeah, let me say console.log image. The new React hooks would make this even easier since you can combine component, did mount, and watch property in one. Yeah, I know, it seems like React really just has so many people going, so many smart brains in the pot going on over there that it's just like they're just kind of thinking of everything and it's leaving everybody else behind. But I don't know, hopefully Vue can, I'm looking forward to seeing what like the release of Vue 3 will do. Let's just see what that brings us really quick. So we'll give it a refresh, paste that in, and it says null, and we still need to. So if we do the computed property in this situation, do we still have to like, will we have to set a timeout in order to get that stuff? Or will the watch property work just fine? So I feel like it still needs to compute the values because I have it in the other way. In the other app, it's got it set up where it's just like, let's see, const image document dot get element by ID image computed styles, blah blah blah, set timeout 100 milliseconds. So should I just use a set timeout again in this situation, or is there a better way to do it in Vue? Alright, we're just gonna get rid of that. We can say, let's see, computed, let's call this image width. Oops. So in the other one, I just had it set up as a method, and then I called it in the created lifecycle hook. Okay, let's see. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a while and I haven't looked at this project, but that's alright. We're gonna get this figured out one way or another. Alright, so we're just gonna do it the way that I had it set up before, and it was just pretty simple. So we'll just say methods instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just gonna say get image size, and inside of that it's gonna be const image equals. Okay, so now it's going to be the document dot query selector. And that's going to be the class display. If I can spell, geez Louise. Display image. All right, and then we're going to say const image const props. Const styles, and that is gonna be set to window dot get computed style. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna go inside the, or it's gonna look in the window and look in here. Where is it? Somewhere in this guy it has all the, it's probably because it's so small right now I can't see it. Okay, right here, the computed tab. It's going to pull from all this stuff, and we can target individual properties by what we pass in as an argument to this function. So we're going to just say what we need to do is pass in the element that we want to target. So it's going to be this image that we targeted right there. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to give it some time, if it's just loading, to be able to compute the styles, compute the height and the width, so to speak, of the image that we're uploading. So what we want to do is set a timeout. For right now, we're just gonna do that, and we might be able to figure out a different way to do it, but you know what, it's been a while and we got so much to do and so many projects to do that we're not gonna worry about too much. As long as this kind of works, the main concepts of the app are working, and you can kind of figure it out on your own if you want to be adventurous, figure out some different ways to do it. I'm sure you could pull it all in together as a one-liner if you wanted to. I know that some people really like that, so get on it. Let's see what you got. I would love to see it. But so for right now, we're just going to do it as simple as possible, as noobish as possible, so everybody can kind of understand what's going on. So with this, we're targeting the window, the computed styles of the image element that we're passing in, that we load from the load image component that we're loading into our app. Right, so we have a set timeout function. What do we want to do here? We're going to say, we're going to grab the properties from this, excuse me. We're going to grab the properties from the image that we're dipping into, so to speak. Okay, so we need a place to store those values when we do grab them. So let's pull in a data object into our Vue instance for the display image, and that will just be able to keep track of what we have, and we'll just have a width, and that's going to be set to not -0 but just 0, not 0.0 but just 0, and a height, excuse me, of 0. Okay, cool. Oh, you know what, forgetting this, jeez Louise. Okay, so we need to return the object that contains our properties. My bad, sorry guys and gals. Height is gonna be 0 as well. Cool. So we got those, and now we can sit there and say inside the set timeout in our methods, we can say this dot width equals image comp styles dot width. Oops, width. Come on. And excellent. And then we can say this dot height is going to be equal to ImageCompStyles.height. Cool. And then at the end of this set timeout, we want to set the amount of time that we want to wait, and we'll just set it for 100 seconds, or 100 seconds, 100 milliseconds. That usually gives it enough time to kind of compute the size of it really quick. Anything less than that, you might be returning null as a value, which will kind of won't work. We might have to set some sort of, we'll have to set some logic and all that good stuff when we're done getting the full functionality of the app together. That will check for, say, if this were to return null, if the error image source was invalid as an image or something like that, you know, just really basic validation to make sure that nothing completely breaks and we'd have to refresh. But yeah, so that'll be after we get all the functionality kind of hammered away and together. So we got this set timeout now. Cool, we got this method written and whatnot. So now what I want to say is we have this method, and so now we'll say, now we're going to set a watch property, and in there we're going to say image source, and that's the computed property that we have set up, and that is going to say function, or actually I don't even think we need to do that. I don't know if the watch properties work. You know what, I'm just gonna do it not like that, but I'm just gonna set it up as an old school ES5 function just to be safe. Pass in the new value. Okay, make sure to comment that out. And so when this image source property changes, we're gonna call this dot where is it? Get image size. All right, so that should give us what we want, and then let's see, we can say console.log this dot width, this dot height. Okay, let's see what that brings us. What do you think? Do you think it's gonna work? All right, let's double check. I think it should work. Let's give it a shot. All right, so let's pull in this dealy bobber here, and let's watch the give it a refresh one more time for extra measures. And it's giving us an error. Okay, what does it say? Failed to execute getComputedStyle window. Parameter 1 is not of type element. Okay, let's see. What is it saying? It's not like in something. Oh, you know what? I think we should wrap this whole thing in the set timeout. So can I turn this into an async await function? Because Joshua is saying get image size as an async, so it'll be 0, 0 when logged. So if I said async, no, I don't really know async await well enough to do that, but if I were to say this async like that, and then await like that, is that correct? Or would this have to be async, and then I would console log this dot width, this dot height inside this method? Let's just see what this does really quick. Okay, so, oh, I see. Let's undo that. That's not correct. What if we put this down here after the set timeout? Let's just see if that gives us the proper values that we want. Oh, So I'm not paying attention. Watch your image source type failed to execute getComputedStyle on window parameter 1 is not type element. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I am just referring to my notes and this guy really quick. Let's see. Okay, so what if I were to just go like this? No, not that. That's too far up. Sorry. Just put everything inside the setTimeout. I just want to see if I can get the values pulled up. 0, 0. Okay. Okay, so if I want to say, Josh is saying I'm passing null to getComputedStyles, and it's because the image isn't loaded all the way, so let's see. It shouldn't take longer than 500 milliseconds, but I'm just goofing everything up because it's been so long. That's alright. Failed to execute. Oh, okay, so let's see. Okay, let's back up just a little bit here. Let's back that up, and we can take that off. Let's just... Let's see if we can get this figured out. It's just trouble. What the heck? Alright, we're just gonna hack this together and see if it works at this point. That's what we do best around here, is we learn as we go, and that's the best part of it. Right? There. Okay, there's a ton of stuff right there. Okay. Let's get rid of, let's see, what do we want to do here? We don't need this set timeout since we're gonna set timeout inside of... right? We're gonna set timeout inside of the image source watcher. So if we load in that now, we should have all the good stuff. All right. So this is what we were looking for the whole time. All right, let's go through this and see what we got really quick. So what were we doing? We have a computed property called image source that is returning this thing right here. That's okay. So this is setting the source attribute on our image element that we have loaded in right there. So that's getting pulled in from the Vuex store property that we have set up to hold the image source from our image loader component. Okay, so next what we did just now is we set up a watch property that watches that image source property for changes. When it changes, it's gonna wait for the image to properly compute all the styles, so the height and width and whatnot, because that was what we were running into before. And so okay, so sorry, I just got a message in the chat. So what we were doing before is we weren't waiting for the window to, basically the browser to compute the styles of it, so it was returning all goofed up and stuff. So when we set this timeout, it gives it a chance to compute the styles, and then we can call this function to get image size, which basically takes the image that we have loaded in when it's properly loaded in and targets it with the query selector, and then takes and targets the computed styles on that element, and then we're just going to log that for now, and we can say Joshua has a one-liner dealy bob set up in the chat. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna go ahead and show. So he says watch document.query selector. Let's just go like this really quick and see what this does. Okay, hold on, we need to set it up in this guy right here, I think, right? Or where do you want this? Oh, I don't think that'll work. I don't think we can't use the dot selector or whatever in the watch property like that, because if I was gonna go like image source dot height, that still won't work even if it was like a valid thingamabob. Unfortunately. Okay, so it looks like, okay, so we got that going. Let's see if this is working properly still. No, that's not what we wanted. Let's pull in our link from the image, select all, copy, and paste. Cool. Have it in there, and we have, we don't need that because that was bad. So if we do have this error, for instance, like when we upload, if we have, oh, like I was saying, okay, so if we have an error when we're loading the image, we have this like unsightly type error right here. We want to be able to like catch that and kind of like just not break the app and just like default to an empty value and be like, please upload a valid image kind of thing. So we'll get to that at some point, but for right now we want to focus on the CSS style declaration thing. And what do we want? We are looking for the height and the width, which we can't see because it's in this continuation. Okay, so let's just say we're gonna console.log that .width and image comp styles.height and see what that gives us now. If we paste that in there. We should see. All right, cool. Well, we got what we're looking for now. Excellent. So let's go into our store, and so we have those properties set up. What do we need to do now? Well, we need to get those values stored into Vuex, right? And so we'll pass that into the canvas object when we are ready to do that. So let's just go in here, and in our actions we're going to say set image size, and then it's going to be the store modifier deal that we talked about before, and then we'll say context and then the payload. Alright, and then so we'll say context dot commit, and the mutation that we want to commit is the set image size muta. We haven't written that yet, but we will in just a second, and then we're going to pass the payload into it as well, and then make sure we get a semicolon on that and a comma on the bottom of that in our action. That should be all that we need for now. And cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and write the action, or I'm sorry, the mutation really quick. And so we'll say set image size. Just auto complete that really quick. We'll just say set image size muta, and that is going to take in the state and the payload that we were passing in from the action, right? And let's just comment that out for good measure. Okay, so set image size underscore muta, and that is going to say state dot image dot width equals payload dot width. Oops, width. And so we will have to define these things in our component in just a minute. When we pass it in, we'll do that in just a second. But let's get the Vuex stuff set up preliminarily, so that way we can just potentially just do it and see it all work. Okay, so state dot image dot height equals payload dot height. Cool. And okay, so that should be all that we need for the mutation. Let's go down here, and then inside of our methods, inside of this get image size, or actually, you know what we can do is inside the watch property, after the set timeout, we will we could set it. I'm sure we can do it in either or. We'll probably, I wonder which one's more performant. It'll probably be more performant. I don't know. They're probably it'll be triggered either way the same amount of time. So let's see. Okay, so we'll say underneath this image source, let's first go into the methods, and we need to import, or I'm sorry, above our Vue instance, we need to import the map actions helper. Oops. As usual, and we need to do it inside the named templating syntax map actions, and then that is going to be from Vuex. All right, cool. And then so inside the methods, we can go spread into our actions that we have inside of our Vue instance, or Vuex instance, and we can call upon and map that specific action that we just wrote in the store to this component to be called, kind of like a custom event. And so check 1 2. Okay, I think are we back? Are we live? Are we still good? Should be all we need, so we'll comment that out so we can go to the next one, and then after the set timeout with the method that we call getImageSize, we're going to call this set image size underscore store, and just like that. Should be all that we need. And then if we look inside of the Vue component or the Vue dev tools, and we look inside Vuex, these two properties should change when we paste that in, possibly, potentially, if we don't have any errors, but it looks like we do have an error. What is it saying? Cannot read property width of undefined. Watch your image source. Let's see. Oh, we need to do it after this thing. I'm sorry. So, because it's async or whatever. Let's do the, or you know what? Let's just bring this all the way. In that case, let's bring it into the get image size because it'll be doing it right there anyways. Okay, so refresh this and we'll just paste that in. Not read property width of undefined. At store 89. Oh, let's see, because we need to pass in our payload. Goodness. Okay, so we'll say const payload equals a new object, and this object is going to contain a property called width, and it's going to be the image comp styles dot width. We'll just, whoops, not that. Do a height property with the image comp styles dot height. Cool, just like that. And then if we pass in the payload like that, now we should be able to get what we want. And let's paste that in there. Cool, no errors. Let's take a look at our Vue instance, and looks like we got our awesome, super duper cool. So we're gonna have to update that on the Vue or on window change. We can update this property because if we do resize the window, we want that to change as well. Another thing we'll want to do is try and preserve the aspect ratio of the photo, potentially. So we'll have to look into how we can do that the easiest. But yeah, until that point, this is a good start. We got that. So I mean, ideally it would just be like working full screen, so the image and the height would, or the width and the height wouldn't really change size. So, okay, cool. Well, I think this is a good good point to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with bouncing this out to a canvas, since we have the image size properly established, and now we should be able to pull that into the canvas and pull our filters into there, no problem. So thank you so much for tuning in to RabbitWerks Live Coding. Awesome as well. Thank you for spending your night with me. Big shouts to Josh with all the help again in the chat as usual. Thank you so much. And if you want to get some awesome RabbitWerks dev stickers, feel free to jump over to the RabbitWerks Discord, join up on there, and enter your name in the giveaway channel, and I will be sure to reach out to you with information on how to get your own very own set of RabbitWerks JavaScript dev stickers. Cool. All right, we'll be back in a few, so until then, stay awesome, and we'll be back in just a few. All right, and we're back. Thank you so much for your patience. And before the break, we were just getting this computed property set up so we can pull in the height and the width of the image that we're uploading to our app. And Josh in the chat was having a suggestion saying that an option is the image should have a natural width, natural height properties on it when selected. That way you can always give back the full size image at original aspect and size, which I like that idea. I need to figure out how to do that, and then working into like the stream of it and whatnot. So good suggestion, I like it. Cool. So for right now, let's just get this canvas continued to be set up. So right now we can set actually the value of this to true, and let's just give our and give that a 1 pixel border. Color black, just to kind of get an idea of what we got. So we got that little thing right there. And okay, so what do we want to do now is we're going to have to set the size of image, and so we will say kind of like how we did here. We're gonna have to have that get image getter that we had before that we deleted. So get image, and that is going to say state with an arrow function that returns state.image. Oops. So now inside of our display canvas component, we should be able to say computed, and inside of that we'll say image, and that will be a function that returns this dot getters dot this dot $store dot getters dot get image, like that. Okay, so if we throw that in there, does it give us what we want? So get image, and we have our information there. Looks like it does change. Let's just give it a refresh. So right now it says 0, 0, and source is empty. And let's just paste our image in there and it updates properly. Cool. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I did get the music louder for the break. I'll turn it down. My apologies. When you do the query selector, that variable should have the properties or newly named ones if it has changed over time. If it has changed over time. What are you referring to in that? When you do the query selector, that variable should have the properties or newly named ones if it has changed over time. Okay, so let's see. And then we can say, oops. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so he's saying the query selector, that variable should have a property or newly named ones, like if we reference like the new or the natural height, natural width properties on it, if we set that. Okay. All Alright, so I'm going to pull this canvas out a little bit so we can look at it. And so there's two things that we want to do here with, in addition to the vShow directive that we have set up. We're going to bind to the width attribute that it has, and then it's going to be set to image.width, which is our computed property image.width. And then we can set the same thing up, height, image.height. That should give us what we want. And so if we refresh that and just poke that in there, you can see that it does give us the same size as the image that we have loaded. So that's what we want there. And cool. So we won't need to look at that too much more, but let's just say okay, so we'll just give this canvas really quick an ID so we can target it. ID equals canvas, very original. Cool. Alright, so this is what is gonna happen. We're gonna have, okay, we can actually hide this for now so it's not screwing up our view. So we'll say that vShow is false. And then let's just say alright, we're gonna have to write a method here, and this will set the filters of our canvas and set the image of our canvas. So we'll write a method here, and our methods object, we're gonna have basically, we're gonna try and do this all in one method at one point, but we're gonna have to just sit there and we have to piece it together a little bit, because there's two parts. We have to have the function that bounces it out to a data URI, but we also kind of want to see what we're doing as we go along a little bit until we're ready to hide it completely. So, alright, what do we need to do first? Let's target our filters. So we need to get our computed properties set up so we can grab our filters from our CS, from our Vuex store, and it is going to be basically what we did before, const filter, oh no, I'm sorry, we need to just say filters, and that is going to be a computed property that returns this dot store dot getters dot get filters. So we should have the filters available to us now on this instance, and if we are to say load image to canvas, and we can just make that into a method. And first of all, we want to say const filters equals this dot filters, right? And then with that, now that we have it inside of this method that we can pull it in from, and we can say filters dot for each. Oh, I'm sorry. What we need to do first is we're gonna store this all into a string that will pass into the canvas to use as the filter data. So what we want to do is we'll say let, which will be a variable that we can change or reassign or mutate and whatnot. So we'll say let FilterString, and you'll see why we do that in a second. So FilterString is going to be, not let equals FilterString, let FilterString equals an empty string, right? So we'll initialize that variable as an empty string, and then we'll say underneath that we're going to loop through our filters. So we'll say filters.forEach. We might have to convert it from that because I don't know if it's going to let us pull in a for each. So we'll say filter. Might have to convert it to something that we can for each over. On this, so we'll just say console.log log filter. Alright, let's see. What do we got here? Let's pull this open. And we do have filters that. Alright, so mounted. Let's just pull this in just so we can see what happens here. Load image to canvas, just like that, just so we can see. And this is load image to, oh, I gotta say this dot load image to canvas. I always forget about the this. Oh, not that. I want to do that. Let's refresh that, inspect it, pull up the console. This dot load image to canvas is not a function. Weird. What? This dot load image is not a function. That's lowercase. That's lowercase, right? Yeah. Is that an uppercase L or does it just look like one? Which one? I think they're all lowercase. This for let, that is in lowercase L. Yeah. So I think the uppercase L is kind of this dot load image to canvas. It's not a function. I don't understand how come it's not a function. Error in mounted hook. What about created? I don't know. Let's see if it gives us the same error. Yep, created hook. Might be this thing that's throwing it off. Let's see. Load image to canvas. Load image to canvas. Oh, you know why? Yeah, you got it. You got it, Josh. You caught it. Methods, not method. We have more. It needs to have the S on there. Okay, so this dot load image to canvas should pull up just fine now. Goodness me. All right, let's see. Get filters is undefined, and that's because I keep getting spelling mistakes like crazy. Goodness me. Alright, cool. We have the filters now. Let me look them through them. We don't need to console log it. We're just going to say for each filter inside the body of the function, we're going to say FilterString plus equals a series of variables inside of template literals. So we're gonna say this is the way we set it up so that the canvas can read it properly. It's gonna be filter dot filter.name, which when we look at it in a minute here, it's going to pull up the name of each filter that we have specified there. Filter.name, and it's going to be parentheses, and then yeah, you're right. We'll have to revert back to the mounted now that we've got that little spelling mistake figured out. But when we get finished with this line of code, we will switch over to that. So make sure we don't forget. All right. So filter name, and then it's going to set the value and the suffix of it. So it's going to be filter.current for the first property there, and then the next one is going to be the filter.suffix, right? And then, so let's go underneath this bad boy and just say console.log FilterString, see what that gives us. You can see it gives us that mess right there. I think we need a space actually after the filter suffix, so it gives us the spaces in between there, just like that. And that's actually what we're going to need to pass into the canvas, just like that, formatted correctly so that it'll understand it and be able to apply those filters correctly. Alright, so before we go any further, let's switch this over back to mounted, because we don't want that. No. And then we actually probably won't be calling that. We're going to set up a watch property, so when the filters change, we'll load the filters, the new values, to the canvas instead of the mounted hook. We could probably keep that in there just to have it like initialized or whatever, but we will set up a watch property, and we could trim it to get rid of the excess white space at the end. But wouldn't that take out the spaces, or is that doesn't affect the white space in between any characters, right? So if I were to say what, .trim on this, like that? No, not like that. We could say .trim on that just to see if that gives us what we want. And yeah, okay, so you see it takes off the space at the end there, so we could say trim like that. And does that give us what we want? Nope. This is just the beginning and the end of the white space. Alright, cool. So we'll say filter string equals filterString dot trim. Alright, there we go. Takes it away. Cool. Got that all taken care of now, and we can say all that good stuff. Cool. So let's go underneath or above the methods now. Let's see if we can okay, so we got the filters and we're pulling that in properly. The next thing we want to do is so let's get our filters taken care of. Next thing we want to do in this function is we're going to grab alright, so we got to grab the image data actually from the image that we have in there. So it's going to be document. Again, we're going to target it document dot query selector, will be dot display image, right? And then we will say we have to target the canvas now, so const canvas is going to be equal to document dot get element by ID, and it's going to be canvas Excellent. And then next thing we want to do is we're going to have to grab a hold of the 2D context of the HTML canvas in order to paint to it. So if you ever worked with the HTML5 canvas, this is pretty standard stuff. And you can take a look at some of the really cool tutorials out there. I know that like the coding train and channels like that on YouTube do a ton of stuff working with Canvas, specific libraries using like P5 or processing using Java kind of stuff. P5 is the JavaScript library of processing, and Daniel Schiffman over there, he does a ton of cool stuff. It's like, it just blows me away all the cool stuff you can do on the canvas. So if you want to learn anything at all about animation canvas wise or anything cool like that, go ahead and go over and check out the Coding Train channel, or just, you know, do a quick YouTube search and you'll find a ton of good stuff. I'll link the channel if you haven't been able to find it, or if you haven't come across it yet, I'll link the channel, Coding Train, to in the description if you want to check it out. But okay, anyways, back to what we were doing. So const canvas equals document.getElement by ID canvas, and cool. Now we want to grab the context. So general practice for doing this is basically we just say const ctx, and that's just short for context because we don't want to type it out. Sometimes you can see it just used as C, or somebody will just type out context, but it seems to be most popular to just do ctx for it. Right, cool. So ctx, and that's going to be set to canvas dot get context, and then we pass in the argument in a string that says 2D. That tells it that we're going to be drawing 2D on the canvas, so we want to get the 2D context, so up and down, left and right. Cool. And that'll give us access to all of the good stuff inside of the canvas as well. So the next thing we can do is we'll say ctx.filter. So this is going to target the context of the canvas, the filter property, all that good stuff. Let's just take a look at, jeez, these emails, I hate it. Stop. Oh my goodness, did I get disconnected again? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry everybody. I don't know if I got disconnected or not. It's just not the best right now. I apologize. Okay, so if you missed anything, basically what we're doing is pulling in the image that we have loaded into the canvas that we have, and then we're targeting the context of, oh my goodness. Just trying to figure out if this is still going or not. Josh, what can you give me a, didn't drop a frame. Okay, cool. Thank you, because it keeps alerting me that I'm getting disconnected from the server from OBS, and I just want to make sure. Okay, so we're working on the context right now of the canvas, and so what we want to do now is we're going to pass our filters in from our CSS variables into the canvas filters properties. So how are we going to do that? We're going to say ctx.filters, or actually, you know what? What we were going to do before, let's just take a look and see what this ctx thing even is. Not in parentheses like that. Console.log, and then we'll just pass in the ctx. Let's just see what that gives us. So right down here. So so this is actually all short. So CanvasRenderingContext2D is what it pulls up for. And hello, Andrew Lane. So glad you could make it. We're just working on some Canvas stuff right now, bouncing these images into an HTML5 canvas. Glad you're here. And so what we're looking at right now is this property. So if we console.log the context of the canvas, we get all these neat things we can look at. So the fill style, filters, which is going to be what we're targeting. So the font, if you're using any type of font, it has its own kind of values in there you can target and set. So right, the default is 10 pixels sans serif. All this neat stuff for like strokes and line widths and shadow offset, shadow color. So a lot of fun stuff. Go in there and play around. And that's just the 2D context, so don't even get me started on the 3D context. So cool. And let's get going. So we're going to target this filter, and we need to pass a string into it, hence what we set up beforehand with this filter string. So instead of console log into context, let's get rid of that line. We will say ctx.filter, because we're going to target that property, and it's going to say equals filter string. Right, and now let's console.log the context and see what that gives us. Oop. Let's see. Oh, let's try changing one of these things really quick. Nope. Oh, there we go. Let's see. That's not what we wanted to change. We got that in there. Let's take a look and see. Oh. Yeah, we've just been kind of hacking this thing together. It's been a while since I've been live streaming, so I'm a little bit rusty on like working under other eyes and stuff too. So, but it's been cool. So now I'm coming into my next issue is that I don't know if this is filters are being applied properly on there. Of course. So filter string is that. Filter. Alright. How's that? Bumped it down just a little bit. I want to get like a better limiter on that so it's more normalized throughout. I think when I get my Spotify playlist going, instead of just running it through like the YouTube channel, then I'll have a little bit more control over the normalizing the levels of the audio signals, but that's something I'm working on. But thank you for the update on the volume. I always appreciate it. Let's Joshua is suggesting we just console log the ctx.filter, see what that says. And where's that? Okay, let's see. Refresh, so it gives us none still. I think probably because I don't know, at the point of, well, no, because at the point of this we should have the filters already going, and it should be already in existence. But when we mount it, it's pulling it, so I don't know if it has. Is this maybe what's causing the issue right now? So if we were to just say, let's set up like that watch property for the image, or no, let's do it for the filters. Function. And then let's just say this dot load image to canvas. Let's see if that gives us a different result. Okay. No. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, so the image doesn't have anything there. The filters are there. Okay, let's see. So interesting. Let's just see what if we can actually draw this image to the canvas and see if that's working. So the way we do that is we use the DrawImage function on the getComputedStyle object API dealy bob. So we'll say context.drawImage, and then that's going to take in 5 arguments, and you can see right there it's going to be the image that we want to draw, the starting points for X and Y, and then the ending X and Y for the coordinates, so like the size of the image that you want to draw. And yeah, it's probably a situation where it's just not showing us. I don't know. I feel like I've struggled with this when I was writing the prototype, or like the first go ahead of this app, and it's just giving me trouble on that too. But I mean, it says everything should be good to go. So let's just try and draw the image and see if that updates properly with all that good stuff. So first one, we want to pass into the context.drawImage function is going to be the image, and that's the variable that we've stored the element in, or image element in. Second argument is going to be 0, 0, or 0, and then the third one will be 0 as well. So it's saying that it's going to start at 0x and 0y position coordinates for the canvas, and then the second or the final 2 arguments are going to be this ending x and y. So it's just going to set to canvas.width. Let's see, wait a second. Can we... Or no, we can say this.image.width. This.image.width. And then this.image.height. Okay, let's see what that gives us. Get a refresh, failed to execute, provided is not type HTML, blah 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 blah, stuff and things. Oh, you know why? Because we don't have an image loaded in there. Let's see that. And if we do that, let's take this mounted hook out because I think this is goofing us up now. So we could try inspecting the canvas. Let's turn it on really quick and see what that gives us. We have canvas in here somewhere, I think, maybe. Alright, so it's there, and let's see, element, let's take a look at this guy. Pull up the computer properties, I think, or no, it would be in the inline styles, I believe. Well, we can watch for an image load as well. But we want, actually, we want probably to do both because we want to reapply the filters when any of them change. So let's just see. But if I load, okay, so I have the watch property set up for image, and that's gonna run the load image to canvas function. So when I load a new one in there, it should load that in there, and it's not giving us any errors. But it's not loading the image. We should be able to actually go like this, canvas.width and canvas.height, since we're targeting it right here. Just make sure we have that, it's in there properly. Okay, let's see. Interesting. I'm not sure. It's always so tricky with this HTML5 canvas stuff. I can never figure it out. It never quite works right for me. But let's see. Let's delete that. CTX draw image. See, it's not giving me an error, but it's not doing anything either. So it's like, I wonder, okay, let's just, let's pull this link really quick from somewhere different and see what that gives us. Just need a random image picture. This will work. Okay, let's take the copy link address. No, copy image address, and let's bring that into this. Alright, so we're getting the right styles applied, we're just not getting the image in there like we want it to, and it's just being tricky. Also, this wasn't even logged then, which means your function never fired, which is why we are seeing nothing. Well, okay, let's see. Let's see. So after everything, if we throw an image in there, it's logging that, but it is not calling this method. Oops. All right, let's see. All right, so it is not being fired when that changes. What about this? It says it's got the source, height, and all that good stuff in that. Try changing a filter. It's not I was having so much trouble with the like loading an image into this before, and I'm not 100% sure. I wonder if we need to like put this in a set timeout or something to give it time to like account for the new image or something. I don't know. Let's just give it 1,000 milliseconds when we update the new. No. And it's not logging it either. I think we're allowed to watch computer properties because that's what we did with where the heck is it? The last episode that we were working on, the something or other, I feel like. Where was it? Yeah, like this thing. We were watching the computed, so with the watch, we were watching the filters, which is a computed property. And we'll put a log in both of the watch properties to see if either of them are changing or being fired. So console.log test from filters watcher. Alright, and then we'll just bring that down to test from image watcher. Oh, that's probably why. You're right. Let's see, are they both firing? If we do that, no, it's not firing. That isn't. Neither is that. Okay, let's take a look and see. So that is on there. Alright, so Josh is suggesting that we set it as we deep watch the properties, the computed properties. So in that case, we have to set up the deep boolean as true, and then the handler, which will be our function, and then we can delete this part right here. And just paste that in like that. That should be the equivalent of it. And we're getting a little bit better results, I think. HTML image element provided is in the broken state found in. Oh, that's because that's not an image. Blah blah blah. Let's try pulling this in now. And let's refresh it really quick. From filters, watchers. Okay, so that's one for each of them. Yeah, errors are good indeed. Okay, because we can work with them. So let's see, where are we at now? Let's pull this out just a little bit so I can see that a little easier. We can collapse that. So instead of having two watchers that we're trying to figure out, let's just go with one, and it'll be alright. So we got that in there. Okay, so we would say if image this dot image doesn't need to be this dot image. We can just run this. Else return. I guess we don't need the return statement. We'll just return if it's not. Okay, so if we type in that, it's gonna say is not equal type of dot image. What is it? How do you do this? Type of image, like that. Let's take a look. So Google JS type of image. Function is image I, instance of it is. Oh wait, don't want that. That's silly. Oh, okay, so Josh is saying not inside the watch property, but inside of the method that we have right here. So after if image instance of HTML image element. I don't know. How do you properly use that? If not, image return. Okay. I got it. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense than the instance of if not image, then return. Man, I am rusty tonight. That's alright. Okay. If not image, return. So if we were to say blah blah blah, then it's not going to try and like bounce that into it. But if we load that in there, then it should load it in. Okay. We're getting closer. I think. Let's see. I just want to try this. What Andrew Lane is suggesting in the chat without the image instance of HTML image element. That looks like it's working. Let's just pull that in to there like that. Pull something in like that. It gives us the width. Oh, I see. Gotcha. For the computed styles or whatever, so it doesn't throw in an error when it's trying to pull the computed styles of something that doesn't exist. That makes sense. We just need to get this image loaded onto the canvas. That's all we want to do tonight, right? But it's not even going that far anymore. Because we want to console log the image and we're not getting it, so I don't know. Let's see. It's always so confusing with this stuff. Let's try one more time just to see what it does. And it's giving us the right size, but we're just not getting. We're not getting the image at all. So let's move that up there. It's not drawing. If we bring that in. Okay, so now we got the image right there. Yeah. Okay, so we have, I see Oh, I see. He's taking it away now. So he was suggesting that we like could do like an onload function. Might need to change the const or the context to let. That might be a good point. We have that. Oh, look at that. Nice. Cool. Okay, what do we got here? So, okay, that makes sense somewhat. Although in my other code I have it set as const declared. Context is declared as const, not let. But maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe my other code doesn't even work anymore. Good call on that. So we got 2 images now, and it pops up like when it gets loaded in. So as soon as we start making changes, let's full screen this really quick and drag it over. The filters, so okay, that makes sense. Cool. So what we'll probably want to do is because we have we're doing 2 things in this. We're loading an image to the canvas and we're loading the filters to it too. So what we should do is separate those guys into 2 functions so we can load the image and then watch the image and call the load image function based on the watch property for the load image. And same thing for the filters. So they're kind of separated because right now they're both trying to do each other's jobs and it's not working as well. So, okay, we can pull this image watcher back in now, and actually we'll take this whole code snippet out for now, and we'll just put it into its own function called update canvas filters. Alright, and then we can just put that in there like that, reformat it just ever so slightly. I think this should be alright if we just give it a test. And we will say this dot update canvas filters for the watcher now, and we don't need the wait, do we need this thing on there for the watchers. The invoker, let's take this set timeout off, we won't need that. And so, okay. After we load the image, we'll say this dot update canvas filters to apply the filters on there, right? I don't know. Sweet, we're doing that right here. CTX dot FilterString. And we need to pass the context into that. So CTX, and then it would be CTX.filter equals FilterString. Right? I think that's what we need to do on that. Let's just take a look and see how many things we broke. Well, copy that. Throw that in there. got errors of the Yahoo again. That's alright. Errors mean you're learning, right? Cannot set property filters, filter of undefined, filters, filter of undefined. Oh, we need to pass in the context. So that we won't be able to necessarily separate that out. We'll just have to, or unless we can we target the canvas in both of them? So if we say that and just bring this down in like that, and then just say this line as well, copy that, nope, yeah. Bring that back down to the update canvas filters, or if we just initialize those, because I feel like I was trying to do this before. I was like initializing these outside of it and it just was not working at all. Whoa. Okay, let's back up a little bit. I don't think this is working. Alright. Before we bring this out to its own function, forward here. Alright, back to where we started before everything broke again. It would be best to have a function that returns the filters and one that returns the context and one that calls both and handles the assignment. That's a good point. So refactoring that to one that would return the context. So we can't just initialize it into a variable. We have to like initialize it and then return it in a function, right? Okay, let's see. So let's pull that in there. Let's take a look at the canvas and see. I don't think it's applying our filters to it quite yet. Not sure. We'll have to figure it out, but we can take a look at it. It's getting late, so I need to wrap it up for the evening, unfortunately, in the middle of our progress. But next episode, we're going to get this finished, and we're going to get it completely hammered away and working solidly. And alright, hold on a second. I just got a message on Discord. It might be helping us out on this. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just lost right now, sorry. Getting tired and not thinking straight much at the moment. So Joshua, we'll have to talk tomorrow, and we can get a little bit of you can give me a little bit of a pointer when I'm a little bit better headed about this whole thing. But yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna head out for the night because it's getting late. I need to make sure that everybody is getting their proper stuff taken care of. But I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in. Next, we're gonna try and get back to the regular weekly scheduled events. Thursdays, either at 8:30 or 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So yeah, if you want to tune into that, we're gonna get the internet all figured out and stuff like that as well. But hopefully we should have some more solid nights coming up. It looks like the cold weather is behind us now for the most part, hopefully, but we'll see. But thank you so much for Joshua hanging out in the chat, Angeline for stopping by. If you're still here, thank you. Everybody who came and went, thank you so much for checking it out. Sorry about the delays the last few weeks again from the weather and all that good stuff, and we're a little bit rusty tonight, but it's all good because that's all part of the learning curve that is JavaScript, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you again for everybody that tuned in. Thank you Free Code Camp Radio for the awesome tunes as always. Make sure to hit up the RabbitWerks Discord for some RabbitWerks dev stickers if you're interested in that sort of thing. And as always, stay awesome, and we'll see you next week. Thanks everybody, and have a great night. Peace. Good night everybody.
This is going to